My name is Law Sharma with Comicbook.com. Congratulations on the long walk. I want to start with this. I heard Hall H got pretty crazy yesterday with some of the graphic footage and the way that they had to cut around some of those scenes. Tell me what the energy was like in there. I'm just so curious. I wish I was in the room.
Yeah, what was it like, JT?
It was. I was backstage, okay. But I could hear them. No, I mean I was out when. Anyway, yes, there was some stuff. You know, we showed 22 minutes of the movie, I think, and there was some stuff that we couldn't show. You know, and I think it created. Even though at first I was like, oh, we're not going to show that, but I think it created mystery and desire, and it was very impactful even without the sort of brutality that could have been shown. It was very impactful because I think it just created more mystery and it makes people want to see it. It would make me want to see it.
Watching it in the audience, we sat with the audience for the 22 minutes, and to watch it and hear their live reactions and watching this, film that I've seen a few times now, it was like watching it for the first time because I felt what they were feeling and I felt it in my gut and my chest. Like this movie is so visceral and it's so engaging, and to see it on such a big screen with that bass. I mean, I don't know if you've been to Hall H, but that bass kicked in, and man, I could feel it. It was good. Yeah.
The trailer too. The second trailer I was so excited by it because it was the first time I'd seen it, and I think it just embodies the movie perfectly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like that trailer feels exactly like what the movie is.
Like that was what you envisioned in the crafting of it, and then
yes.
To see it come to fruition must feel pretty validating, and at Comic-Con of all places, which is amazing. I heard that Mark Hamill had some wonderful praise for the young actors in this film.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, what was that?
Wow.
Well, I mean, in Hall H, I had heard that he was praising you guys for your sensibility and your acting ability. What is it like working with a legend like that? I'm just curious, as a big old nerd myself.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's Mark Hamill, and you turn up on set. I remember the first week, we didn't know who the major was going to be, and it was this big thing, who's the major, who's the major. And actually, that's another story. I ended up telling a couple people I was the major. Do you know what I mean? Which was hilarious.
I remember
their reactions were hilarious. They were like, whoa, but yeah, that was...
Because look, imagine 50 boys showing up, and we're all asking each other who's playing who.
Yeah.
I was the major. Yeah. But no, but it was a big thing. And then when we heard Mark Hamill, got casted, it was crazy. We're all we all grew up on Star Wars, and just he has a huge body of work even outside of Star Wars. So it's amazing. But then another thing is, and Garrett says this way better than me, it's just how he is on set. He's always on time. He's always shaking everybody's hands. He's so down to earth, and I think it's very humbling. Especially as a young actor, you feel a bit taller. When you walk up on set, you get that coffee, and everyone's running around for you. And you're getting picked up in these. You know what I mean? You're staying in a nice hotel. You know what I'm saying? And it's you feel a bit taller. But then when you look at someone like Mark Hamill, who really and truly, is that guy, is that man. He's just so humble. And I think it's a reality check, and it keeps us all in line, and it's just so beautiful to work with someone like that. And then to hear praises as well, it's just out of this world. So yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Roy, you're no stranger to helping adapt a Stephen King novel, right? And I'm curious, the question is always with adaptations, what are you doing to honor the source material, but also do something fresh and cinematic for the Long Walk adaptation?
Well, for me, it's just I love the source material, and what I do is just trying to find the best people to make the movie with. So JT and Francis Lawrence were incredible filmmakers and thought that they could adapt it. So I didn't really give them much direction. I mean, I didn't tell you anything other than I would love this to be the Stand By Me for the next generation, and let them do what they do best.
Yeah. Francis Lawrence, you brought him up. Perfect person to helm something like this, I think, just given his track record with the Hunger Games especially. What was it like having him at the helm? What did that experience feel like as actors, as a writer, as a producer? Did he really take charge of this project in a way?
I mean, who builds out worlds better than Francis Lawrence, right? You know, he's adapted so many brilliant novels and has done it at an expert level. And so when I saw that he was attached to direct, I thought, wow, he's going to make this such a dynamic world for us as the actors, the fortunate actors, to be able to play in. And he did not disappoint there. I mean, he allowed such creative freedom and independence from us. We showed up and he's like, okay, pick your outfits, pick your backpacks, pick your props. You know, what do you want to look like? We helped sculpt these characters alongside him, and he gave us so much freedom, which in some ways is quite scary because the sky's the limit, but in some ways makes it feel very personal. And these boys, these characters felt entirely true to us, and I think that's why the performances feel so visceral on screen.
Thank you for that. JT, I just need to throw this out there. Strange Darling was one of my favorites.
Me too.
Oh, thank you.
And so, you know, there's something interesting about, like, that's such an original work. I was very excited to see that in the cinema, and now an adaptation. I wonder the approach from, like, a storytelling perspective and in building that narrative. What were some of the challenges, if you had any, of taking a work that existed and making it your own in a way?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's also scary, especially when you love the writer so much. But when Roy introduced me to Francis told me what kind of movie he wanted to make, and that was the movie I wanted to write. You know, so I'm so familiar with Stephen King, and I was so excited about the vision Francis had for this movie that I was very confident that I would have a good time writing it, and I knew how I wanted to write it. I was just terrified that Stephen King wasn't going to like it. So when we found out he liked it, it was a really, you know, important moment. But I love, you know, writing and telling original stories. But if there's a book that exists, a story that exists that I feel connected to, that I feel like I could have written or could have come up with myself, that I feel like it shares artistic DNA with my heart, then it would feel right. There's this felt right. And I will say about Francis that even though there's some obvious narrative parallels between this and a few other movies he's directed, I think this is like a departure for him. I think it's a different kind of movie, even though it's, you know, a lot of people, Hunger Games, similar themes. It's just his approach to this was so unique, and it was so true to King's DNA, that he told me right off the bat he wanted to go all the way, you know, and he knew. I learned so much from him. I mean, as a you know, writing for another director as a director can be a weird thing, and this experience was magical because he brought me out to set for a few weeks. I was able to meet the cast, and I was able to spend evenings having dinner with him and asking him about directing movies. This guy who's directed, you know, many movies so well. And so it was, you know, I got so much out of it beyond just the job. And I got to watch him work, and I got to see how a really well-oiled machine as a crew and a film set works. You know, him and his line producer, Mika, and his cinematographer, they have a shorthand that was very, very impressive to me, and I want to take that into my next production. So yeah, it was a joy working for Francis and being able to adapt this.
Love that.
Yeah.
Roy, I'm curious, what does like a Stephen King stamp of approval pipeline even look like when it's like, hey, we want to adapt the first novel you ever wrote? Like, what does that pitch even start with?
It's usually just like a email or just a short message just telling him this is what we want to do with it, and him just saying, sure, go ahead, and then sending the script and waiting for his approval. And so there hasn't been a time that I've worked on something where he said, no way, you can't do that.
I always liked when Stephen would do like tweets about movies that he
I
had
love
just
Stephen
seen.
King's Twitter.
They're
That's how I know him.
They're great.
Yes.
Yeah. More Stephen King reviews, please. Dumb question. Did they give you guys good shoe inserts for the walking
This
part?
was when I walked in the fitting for the first time. I said, "What kind of shoe inserts are we looking at? like what kind of shoes are we looking at?" I mean, there were some brutal blisters. There was one boy walking in rain boots. That was crazy. Yeah, I
Don't
feel
wear
very-
sneakers on
don't-
the long walk.
That's one of the rules. But yeah, I had some good insoles, and I'm very fortunate for that. I got ankle braces too. That was nice. I felt like a little old man walking around, but yeah, I needed that.
Amazing. Well, I do want to talk about all the young cast, right? Like all the boys, as you refer to them as, like, you guys have to build camaraderie, and when you're on set, you want to build a good rapport with your fellow actors. But you shot this chronologically, I heard, right? How did that kind of affect the experience of like growing closer together?
I mean, like, filming chronologically is very rare. You know, and like the fact that we're given this opportunity, I think it's such a blessing, and I couldn't imagine filming this movie any other way. So I guess, like, the choices you make on day one. I'm stealing your.
Hey, you can steal this, okay? Yeah.
Hey, no, the choices you make on day one, you know, you can carry them through, you know, to the end, right? So that also helps with, you know, character building, and that's obviously personal. That's you, but then you can also lean on each other and figure things out. Because if something isn't working in this scene, you know, then you know, we can talk about it, because we film one scene a day as well. You know, so it's chronological order. It's one scene a day, and that just made it so much more easier. And also, we, you know, as much as, like, how do I say this? As much as we are, like, there's the Musketeers, right? As much as that's there, like, and that is the story, that is the truth in a way, and so much more. And I'm not just saying that. Like, everything you see, the joy, the happiness, the laughs, that is all real. And it's like we're in this, like, for life, like this. Yeah.
I will say, you say the joy is real, but also there's a sense of sadness that becomes
Correct.
real towards the end of the walk as well. You know, when you have said goodbye to, you know, your brothers and your dear friends, and those, you know, character to character relationships, that begins to kind of weigh on you. So while that joy and that camaraderie is real, that loss and the sadness is real as well.
Man, I cannot wait to see this film. Congratulations to you all. I do have
Thank
to
you.
wrap. We
Thank
can
you
stay
so
here
much.
Thank you so
for a
much.
long time, for a
Quick.
long walk. But I appreciate you guys coming to visit Comicbook.com.
Thank
Thank
Bob.
you for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
Have a great
Enjoy
day.
the rest of
you,
your
thank you.
con, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Long walk
crazy out
out
there.
September 12th.
There we go.
September
12th
12th,
in
baby.
cinemas.
There we go.
Only in theaters.